So, how are you guys doing?
Hello.
We're doing very well, thank you.
Oh my God, you doing great. We miss you guys.
Yeah. How was Italy? How was Europe?
Oh, it was fabulous. It was absolutely fabulous. You know, we ended up going on a trip via from Poland to Amsterdam to drop off our daughter with her biological father. And then, of course, we went and saw you guys, and that was so spectacular. And then from there, we went back under the tunnel and we went to Paris. And oh my God, Paris. When we were driving through Paris, I kid you not, I thought I was driving through the slums of Watts. We at one point, we thought seriously that our car, that homeless were going to jump in our car. I actually did a Jedi thing where this guy was starting to reach for the door. I go, no, pull your hand away. And he actually he did that. He pulled his, and Anna was scared because we were locked.
Taxi was in front of us and motorbike behind us, and we were stuck basically. And both sides were these homeless people and those shelters, the tents everywhere, and they were selling things, and it was scary.
It was everything of Birmingham and then some. It was horrible. But we had a good time in Paris, and then we went on to not Zurich, Geneva. Oh man, that's a dark place, I'll tell you. And we did a little bit of spying there, and lasted about a day, and then we went back down to Italy, and it was nice, beautiful. Breath of fresh air, relaxing, everything that we always experience when we're there. Yeah, it was wonderful. Yeah.
So where did you go this time?
Well, I want to hear about your trip, about your concert. How did that go? How was that concert?
So after we met with you guys in Hampshire, was it Hampshire? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Hampshire or Hailing Island, and we met up there, which was just amazing to meet you both in person. Well, we met Peter obviously in Birmingham, and then we met the beautiful Anna, which was just amazing. Wasn't it just lovely that we hung out together?
Lovely.
Yeah. So nice, so lovely memories. And we came straight home that day.
Yeah, only took us 7 hours to get back.
Did you know, normally when we drive, like, we leave very early in the morning, but because we had breakfast with you guys, and the same thing must have happened to you because we got on the road and everything, it was Friday, everything was super busy, but yeah, we eventually got home. And then with me, it was a few weeks later, I went to the Netherlands, and the flight was actually, I hadn't flown for 2.5 years, because want to, and so I was pretty nervous, and thankfully Germany had just lifted their restrictions because the booking agent wanted to fly. There was myself and my rapper and another group, 2 people, so there was 4 of us traveling from Manchester, and the flight actually got cancelled in the morning. So the 8:40 a.m. flight got cancelled, and it was like, oh my God. And I mean, it got cancelled till 12 midnight. And I was like, what do you mean? It's been cancelled till 12 midnight. I've got a show to go to. I'm working. I was meant to be on stage at 5 p.m.
Wow.
So it was pretty stressful.
So you didn't make it. You didn't make it that 5 p.m. obviously.
Yeah. We made it for 3. We flew into Brussels instead of Düsseldorf, because it was just near on the border to the Netherlands show. It was a fantastic festival. The numbers were quite high. It was sold out. It was great. It was a really great chance to be back on stage, doing what we're doing, Yeah. Great. And I was back the next day and then slept for, I think, a day. That's what I kind of do.
You had quite an experience on the Euro wings.
On the way back. Yeah, we got the Cologne flight, a flight back from Cologne.
The German Gestapo.
Yeah, and they were very tough with me. Yeah, they wouldn't be unless I wore a blue mask. So that was scary because obviously, what our beliefs are and what we believe in. So yeah, I had to be really careful. The pilot had a word with me, or I had a word with him. Told him that.
Follow our footsteps, because they wanted to throw us out of the plane in Germany, basically. and they also called the captain. So we also had the
Yeah, and we even have
April.
and I even have paperwork from a registered physician that says that it is basically unhealthy for us even to wear a mask because of a medical condition, although it's BS. You know, I have the paperwork, you know, and but the thing about it is, what we found out recently is, you know, if you're going to travel, better to take your own cloth mask, you know, like one of those black ones that you know is safe, at least safe from the point of view that it's not infected, you know, because these blue ones, I've come into recent information that they've been tainted with spores of fungus.
Yeah.
In Germany, they didn't let us wear the normal ones.
No.
You know, and
Well, we didn't.
And we refused to wear.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was touch and go whether I would get the flight. I actually thought about getting off. They would escort me off. But what I managed to do, I had a scarf, not a silk scarf, like a cotton scarf that I bought, you know, 2.5 years ago, because I did fly last 2.5 years ago. That was the last time I flew for work for a show. And I bought this like bandana and I had it over my nose. So it was flat over I could breathe. But so what I did this time was, because they refused to let me fly, I just thought, well, I want to get home. And I didn't want to stop the flight. It was just back and forth, their word against mine. So I took the blue mask, sat down, I briefly put it on and I thought, what am I doing here? This is awful. So I managed to take it off under my chin and put my bandana on around my nose, and I had a hoodie on. So I put the hoodie on and I just wrapped myself like that with the hoodie, and I got my head down on my lap. And then as soon as we were in the air, I put the tray down, the drinks tray, put my head on the lap. So I had this hoodie on and you couldn't see what I was wearing basically. So
funny that you say that too. You know, do you know that the women that wear burqas, none of them wear masks?
Well, yeah. Do you know something? Isn't that
why
crazy?
Is that
Crazy, isn't it? Crazy. Do you know? And I wonder, because my exemption cards that I had from 2 years ago were here at the house. And in my head, I wasn't fully prepared. I was like, oh, damn, you know, I didn't have any letters, because they said, well, where's your exemption? I said, I'm exempt. Or where's your exemption? So it kind of didn't go that far. But I had crystals on me. I had clear quartz. I had black tourmaline. I held that in my hand, quite a lot of crystals. I did David's process. I cleaned and protected my energy so that they could come nowhere near me. And it was quite funny, really, because when they were serving drinks, the air stewards were right above my head because I was on the aisle seat. And the lady who was at the window, because the plane wasn't that busy, there was like a spare seat and she was near the window. She didn't have any cash for water. So they were back and forth, and she was like kind of arguing with the air steward, but I just want water. She couldn't speak much English. And she said, well, it's €3. And the lady's going, but I have no money. I have no cash. And it was really funny. So in the end, she had to give her free water. And I'm thinking, you just need to go away. She was causing a scene, you know, right near me. But yeah, the energy was really funny. All round. I mean, I don't know about you guys, flying wise, going to the actual airport, we went about 4 or 5 hours beforehand just to avoid the queues. It's very stressful. I
can't wait till we move into the next level of ascension, where we can just pass through these portals that I'm thoroughly investigating, to the point where I know they exist. I know historically they are already been spoken of. So we know that they're in the realm of the physical that we already exist in. Now we just have to access them. So sooner or later, if you get there before me, David, let me know how to work them, okay? Because soon that's going to be where we can just like walk into the mirror or something like that and boop, right on through to
Dave,
wherever
if you get there before me, don't forget to pass the message.
I will pass the message on directly. I promise you, brother.
So this is the book that I've been reading.
Oh well. I don't think that guy knows what he's fucking talking about.
now you tell her.
I'm about a third of the way in, and I have to say it's a really good book, Peter. You know, great book, very insightful, and I'm using it. You know, I'm taking notes.
Everything in that book is based on truth. That every single story in there happened. I saw it or experienced it firsthand. There's nothing in there that cannot be verified.
Great book, and looking forward. So after this one, I'll read the other one as well. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, our book that we're working on together for our movie had a major turnaround. So what happened when I came back? I had a big meeting with my mentor, and he's kind of my voice to God, you know, not that I don't talk to God myself, I do, but he pops in with these words that, and I've learned to listen, because when he says certain things, and one of the things he told me that I needed to not become too confusing. You know, I can't have more than a couple of messages in the book, in this book, and AKA in this movie, because we'll lose people if it's about hunting, if it's about drugs, if it's about all
your words wisely now.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, well, I have to watch my words. But yes, if it's about all those, I can cut all of this stuff out too. If I use a word that we mistake, I can cut it out of the edit. So if we, you know, when it comes to editing it and sending it through to you guys. But anyways, but he, and then another thing he told me, which this was new, he wanted me to take the reference. His part of the book is his sister that actually went through this process, that was hunted in Germany right after the war, or during the war in World War II, and in the Black Forest, and all these things that I saw in a vision actually happened. And it was like, he goes, that happened, you know, it's like, wow. You know, and so, you know, how God has kind of like opened my eyes to these, it's actually proving to me that when I see these visions, or you know, these multi-dimensional experiences of seeing these spirits, except that actually has happened, or it is happening, you know. So but that being said, my mentor calls me back and he says, but I want you to take my sister's name and any names out of there that reference real people. And at first I was like, whoa, you know, this changes everything, you know, because, but then I thought about it later and I thought, you know, maybe he's right, because I do have a few villains in this book that God has shown me are the villains. But if I expose these people, what about the innocents that are associated with them, you know, their families, et cetera? You know, is that my job to go and do this? So I was bringing this to your, you know, again, I'm gonna have to take that out. I'm gonna have to cut this piece out.
He's unstoppable, his big mouth.
My big mouth. But what are your thoughts on that? You know, David and Elyse, what do you think?
I agree. I think, yeah. Because
it's all to do with the intention behind the book, isn't it?
Yeah.
The protection of people, and I think people will feel the intention behind the words, so they'll know the story's true. They'll know it.
Yeah.
And the people who are supposed to acknowledge it, and be it the person who's going to read it first of all, which would be the person we're going to send it to, and the manuscript, they already know it. David, if it's linked with you and you resonate with the story, then we want it. They will work. So
good. Then that's what I thought too. You know, so I'm keeping literally only the as an honor to my wife who died. I want to keep her name in there, and possibly the baby. But that's it. Other than that, you know, I'm going to change the names of everybody else. So
yeah, you're protecting people, aren't you, really?
Yeah. You know, I don't want to, you know, I want, so that people, let's say the guilty recognizes his own character in the story because he did it. Well, there's not a lot he can do about that, because for him to come forward and say, hey, you know, blah, 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 I'm going to sue you, basically admits that he did it, you know, I think it's wisdom that I do take it out, because it doesn't change the story. All it does is takes away the personal references, and still in the credit of the book, I can say based on real life events without having it to be the names.
Yeah.
Clever,
sure.
Really clever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes, isn't it?
So needed, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is so needed. And Elyse, thank you. You had a nice word for me. I was very frustrated with, especially when I came back and having to change a lot of this stuff, even change to a degree the climax. So that means I had to rewrite a couple of chapters of the book, etc. And then I was frustrated with, because I had given myself a timeline to get the stuff to you, David, and then it wasn't happening. And then you came back with, well, it's going to happen when it's ready, and that was, your words were exact to the words that my mentor said when I said the same frustration. He said, don't worry, it's going to happen when God says it's time.
Yeah. No rush. It'll just is. And I only say that because of my own circumstance as well, because I'm in that too. And I think, Anna, I can say for you, because me and you are very, very alike. When I met you, really connected with you. I
know you forever. It's just amazing.
You guys are spiritual sisters.
So
there's no doubt about it. You're spiritual sisters. Yeah. I recognize that immediately with you when I saw you in Birmingham. It's like, wow.
Yeah, we met before, but it didn't connect straight away. It was when you were talking, you were so familiar. But you said something really profound when we left that day after the breakfast, and you said, I'm really going to miss you. And I really felt that in my heart, and I was missing you too already. It was just the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
But what I was saying was resonating was because of my music. And I wanted to speak to you all about this, really. Something that's really prevalent, that's coming to the forefront for a lot of people on the planet, is AI. And I think I can say that word. Is that?
Yeah.
You don't know, do you?
AI is listening. So hi.
Hello.
So, my solo music, I feel, has been on the back burner for so long, and I've got all this new song to come out, and it's been a timing issue. It's been not an issue, but it's been a timing thing. And I think because we get challenged, I don't want to say attacked, but we get challenged momentary, don't we? I know time's speeding up now, isn't it? It's getting so fast, and I just wondered everyone's thoughts on that subject of, what they think about the programming, because I know that's what you deal with, especially with your clients.
I can only speak for since coming back from Ailing Island, I think nearly every client has been attacked by entities or some kind of intrusion.
Wow. I completely agree. We had this discussion today, David, just today, and Anna and I, about compartmentalization and how that is what the MK Ultra uses now, and where exactly does that fit in the realm of spirituality. Now, I know from my own experience, when Hilly died, my first wife died and child died, I had a compartmentalization that took place. I literally had my entire life with her, physical life, put in a box with a door that closed the door and the key was locked. I had no memories whatsoever of any experiences with her other than photographic type. Oh, we were married. Oh, yes, we played together in sports. We lived together. These different things. We bought dogs and different things. I had a child. But other than physical, like photographs, I had no moving memories. No emotion was attached to it. Nothing. That was all put into these rooms. Now, the way it works is God creates this mechanism in order to save the lives of his children if they're attacked with such traumatic attacks that it attacks physical, mental, and spiritual. Basically, that's why these happen a lot with children when they're abused. Because the idea that a person, such as a parent, that is supposed to have loved, because of love, brought them into this universe, suddenly is attacking or horrendously hurting them if they survive. Let's put it that way. God has created this mechanism so that they don't go insane. Because if you were to have to experience the mental, physical, and emotional all at the same time of that category, it would literally break your mind. So God's created these mechanisms, these rooms, as it were. Your man, it's in his word. Your life is your soul is a mansion of many rooms. Those rooms are the experiences, those memories that you work with, David. That again, those doors are the ins and outs. A lot of times they're the triggers, the memories that they trigger, certain things trigger these responses. Now, the deep state, MK Ultra, AKA the Nazis, figured out how to take this mechanism and use it for themselves. So they create using lights and poisons and shocks and all these different tortures of young children or even adults in order to create these doors, these rooms that are locked.
Or even subliminal messages in
the messages are the keys.
Movies.
So what they do is they create these realms in the MK Ultra. That's why they show films or they'll have some song playing while the child is being tortured. Okay. And then that way, when the child hears that specific noise or sees that specific image, Donald Duck in a dress, let's say, okay, just something that is odd, but boom, in the future, they want to be able to put that image, Donald Duck in a dress. Okay, now, suddenly the door's open. Now, does that mean the memories come out? No. The door is open for them to bring the spirit in.
Correct.
The dark spirit comes in. That's the way in. So that makes us vulnerable. That's why, even these people that go to PTSD, I've worked with a lot of patients with PTSD. They, in those dramatic events, those horrific things that happen in wartime or in a war situation, bodies being blown up or friends being shot right next to them, suddenly they have these doors that close. If they hear sounds or even smell smells that they smelled at the time that this happened, like I explained the Coke can with the one guy, opens up, boom, he goes immediately into this. They use that as venues to make us vulnerable, or they want to. So how do we combat that with our patients? By explaining to them that they are there. So when they see these things happen and these doors are opening, know that it's a door that's being opened because of this past event, and don't let that spirit come in. Look for him. I know you're coming. I feel you coming. I'm not playing. Perfect example is with me, when I'm perfect myself. I had an attack about 2 years ago of, what do they call it?
You're dizzy?
When I'm dizzy. Oh God, medical term. Anyways,
Vertigo.
Vertigo. Yeah, I'm the medical person. Vertigo. Yeah, and a brain hurt.
In the room.
Yeah, but basically, the way they explain it physically to the doctors is that you have these crystals in your ear, and if they ever break loose, all you have to do is turn your head like that, and they go shaking, and you get dizzy. There's no cure. Now, when I tell you I couldn't walk from the bedroom to the bathroom without hardly falling over, I felt like the whole universe was spinning. And I thought, oh shit, this is happening to me. And I let it happen to me, and it happened. And I was like, oh God. And then a few days later, I started applying the same things that we do, David. And I started telling it, no, I'm not playing. And now, if that dizziness comes, because it still tries to attack, It literally has no effect. The minute I even feel it coming, no, I'm not doing it. Gone. See, I stop it from occurring because I've identified this door. It doesn't mean I get rid of the door. I mean, the door happened, you know, but what I do get rid of is the ability for those creatures to go into the door, because the minute I see the trigger, I'm putting my attention on it, and I'm basically making sure no spirits are going to come, you know, at us. And I just basically say, no, I'm not playing. Go away.
So David, what you observing now in this last few months, or last month that you had those clients, because you say that they're all programmed?
Yeah. The young lad who was going to be showing up at 8 o'clock, he's had an episode. He's the youngest of 3 other siblings, and his mum contacted me as a case in point here, which is symbolic of nearly every other client that I've seen. The original inquiry by email has been by the parent. Can you work with my son? Can you work with this? Can you work with my daughter? Da, da, da. And in every instance, I've had to explain that it's not them that is going to be booking in initially. It's the person who is emailing me, i.e. the parent. But I don't mention that in the email, because then you kind of forcing them to work with me when originally the intention was to work with their daughter or child. So in every instance, I just say, look here, just ask your son, just ask your daughter, do they want to be healed of all these issues? Yes or no? Some may say no. Accept that. Let me know how you go on. And in most cases, one of the siblings books in. I clear that particular one because they've said yes, because the condition with working with people with entities particularly is that they have to want to be well, because the entity is going to say no, say no.
Yeah.
And that is the common thread at the moment in answer to your question, because nearly every single client has said, David, I've got this voice in my head saying, you're not making sense. You're evil. You're this, you're that. What do I do? And I said, you're aware now that this voice is not you. Is that true? Mm-hmm. Well, yes, because you've cleared everything else up to now. Why is this voice saying this? So I said, I've no idea. And I go through the emotion with them by just asking them to actually access the memory in relation to that voice appearing. And as Peter's explained there perfectly, that's how I make the connection, because I know when the entity's there, he's running out of bad memories to hide behind, because that's what they do. They hide behind it and talk. Yep. And so the consequence, the young lad today, he's had his awakening. He's not been able to access the emotion. So I've given him the process in Skype in a voice message, and it's all come up because he couldn't access the emotions when he was with me, because the entity was talking to him, and because he was only a young lad, he wasn't aware that that voice wasn't him, it was the entity. Mum's got back to me today saying, are you available from 8 o'clock your time, 2 o'clock ours? I said, yeah, I'll just leave it open. It may be 10 o'clock because I think we've got friends who were wanting to catch up. And I said, I will just leave it open. Either way, I'll be available. So that has been common for the last 2, 3, 4 weeks. Yeah. All of July, it's been demonic.
Well, let me tell you this, David, from not tell you anything that you don't know, but it has, on a global basis, there has been an increasing manifestation of darkness. more demons are out and about. Why? Because their supply of sacrifices has gone down. When they did the Roe versus Wade, that was a huge turnaround, because suddenly the amount of aborted babies, boom, is going to drop immediately. Okay, so that's a lot of sacrifices of God's children that are sacrificed to Satan. Okay, and those sacrifices are interwoven through witchcraft and fed to the demons. Okay, and they are used to that climbing with our population. Suddenly, a lot of their bosses, if we trust what we hear around the world about the Venetians being taken out and some of the top Satanists being already taken out, those are the conduits they're the conduits between the physical and the spiritual, the dark spiritual. Okay, that's down, below 3, that's 2. Okay, so they're a conduit of that energy, that negative energy. Now that they're not there, or they're not given it, these creatures are out hunting themselves. They're desperate. Okay, so you're going to see more and more manifestations of darkness, of those things, voices telling them. They can't make them do things. That's why they have to ask them or tell them to do it. If the devil could kill us, he would have already done it. He has to use his minions to do it for him. He has to get you to do it to yourself. He can't do it to you. He's not allowed. He doesn't have that power. He has no physical power in this universe. He can only manipulate the people in this universe, in our physical universe, to do his bidding for him. That's why he's got all these minions doing it for him, and then tries to get us to do it. That's why all the drugs dumb us down, so that we're not in contact with our spirituality. So we are only in contact with our physicality. That's what the drugs want to do. That's why when I hear people on YouTube, they'll say, well, you got to do this physical thing or that physical thing to ascend. It's like, well, that's all nice, but really you want to ascend? Just lift your head up and ask God, because that's the fastest way. If you're going to do physical things, you can do them, but David, you've got to change the way you think. You got to change the way you look at these things. And if you want to start taking command of the greatest part of this issue that you're suffering from. The greatest part is the spiritual part. The physical part's only a little part. So with these people that are suffering, like your friends are suffering, I would say that the amount of demonic attacks is actually on an increase, because they're feeling desperate. They know that their time is coming to an end. They know that their conduits have been taken out, and a lot of these processes, all of this stuff, the production, it's getting out. People are knowing. And the more that people know, the more light that's on the darkness, and darkness has to flee. It has no choice.
What do you guys have, like a morning ritual or an evening ritual that you do for protection or clean and protect? Do you know what's your best way that you clean and protect? My process every day when I get up, the first thing I do when I wake up is open my eyes, is I ask God, literally, what are you trying to tell me? I put my eyes on God. And have I ever told you about my scuba diver thing, image? I asked God, tell me an image of what it's like to be in multiple dimensions. Give me an image that people can identify with. And he gave me an image of scuba diver. I used to be a scuba diver. I like to scuba dive.
And I saw myself swimming about 30 feet above the surface of the ground of the water. Now, when you take a deep breath, you go higher, take in more of God. You go higher. When you let out your breath, you actually go a little lower. But you swim at the level that you have basically put your buoyancy. So you're swimming like at this level, you're just swimming along. When you calmly swim, you notice at the bottom, that's where the predators are. Sharks, they're swimming along at the bottom. Now, you'd say, oh, shark. Some people get scared when they see those things. They get all frightened. And the shark knows it, and he attacks. But if you know that the shark can't see you because he's looking down when he's hunting, he's not looking up, he's looking down. So as long as you don't make a lot of noise or you don't reach down there and try to touch him or something like that, he can't get you down there. You're safe because you're up here. When we put our attention into the fifth, when you are working with patients and helping people heal, as a healer, David, when you, Elyse, are bringing your message of truth about your music and about vibrations and all of this stuff, that you are in the fifth. You're spending 20, 30, 40, 60, 100% of your time in the fifth dimension or higher. Sicknesses are in the third and lower. So they cannot touch you. So it's not a question of, well, what do I have to do to get myself to the fifth? You are there. You're already there. So just daily, what do? I look and I say, God, what do you have for me today? Nice. Anna does the same thing. The minute she gets up, what does she do? She's on the phone looking at what's happening today.
No, but before I'm on the phone, I'm always having a little conversation with Abder, about being grateful for another day. Yeah. And for all the gifts, being grateful for for my family, for the health of all of them, for everything that happened, even dramatic things that happened because they brought me here, and I go on the phone, of course. This is not the best thing to do.
But the phone brings in the news, and instead of seeing the news as doom and gloom, like our good friend David Nino Rodriguez, he's a very good friend of ours, but it's always doom and gloom. It's we see it as signs of the times, and it's only been recently that we really started thanking God for the time we live in. A lot of people say it's like, my God, this is such a horrible time. All these deaths, all these things are happening, all this stuff, and it's killing so many people. But really, we get to see the entire human race, the ones who are going to transition into that next realm. We get to see it happen. And you, David, and you, Elyse, and Anna, and myself actually get to help people in the process. So what a wonderful, I spent 35 years treating patients, and it wasn't until about my 25th or 27th year that somebody finally came along to me and said, you saved my life. It was one of the finest moments of my life. David, you know how many lives you saved? How many patients have you had? 10,000, 5,000, 2,000? Those are lives. You're saving every one of those people's lives. You're saving their life.
Yeah. They're saving themselves, really, because it's a process that I'm merely guiding them. They're saving themselves. They're just, once I've got their permission to work with their mind and body, they're merely accessing the memories from one part of the brain, so subconscious, and bringing it to the conscious to actually delete it.
Absolutely. Well, our bodies heal ourselves, but don't mistaken. There's some scriptures in the Bible where the prophet or the apostle, or I'm not sure who exactly, is brought in front of the throne of God. And God says, okay, now look to your right, which is to his left. Oh, it's a message from Charlie. And he says, all those people on the right, because of you, because of words you said, because of kind acts, because of loving kindness, because of things you've done, you, David, they are safe because of the things you did, because you chose yes instead of choosing no to help somebody, the ones on the right. But then he says to the prophet, now look to the left. Those are the ones you could have said saved had you said yes, but because you said no, they were lost. And it caused the prophet in this particular story to weep because there were so many that he had not said yes to help. So yes, people do heal themselves, David, but don't be mistaken. In the David, your relationship with God looks at every single word that you said, and he loves that you say yes. And that's what we have to help our people. When we help them and give them truths or help or present truths or teach them or whatever, one of the things I try to get my people to do is when you're done, try to go out and help somebody else. Or if you can't do it, if you're not willing to try or whatever, then at least bring them to get or pass on the message or something. Do something that aids in their healing, because we are all called to be healers. We are all called to be prophets. We are all called to be teachers.
Pay it forward.
Yeah, pay it forward. Exactly.
Pay it forward. Yeah.
So, Elyse, how you start and you end your day? What you do?
Well, I'm just going to ask David. David, what question do we ask in the morning? Yeah. Do you remember what we say?
Just let me get the lights on.
He's putting some lights on.
See us, we're going to disappear.
Hey, now also, Elyse, I think you might have your camera on your computer. You may want to rub it because there's a little bit of a fog on your image there.
Oh, is that better?
Sometimes you get like a little bit of.
Needs to clean it.
Sometimes you get a little fingerprint in front of I've had the same thing. I have a fingerprint in front of my own lens, and then it's like it's better, much better.
Yeah.
Oh, good. So what do we say in the morning? What's the first thing we say?
Good morning, gorgeous. Welcome to paradise.
Welcome to paradise. Yes, that's nice.
We go, welcome to paradise, and then some morning.
Then we'll laugh out loud.
Then we laugh. and then we say, although the other morning we said welcome to Bongo Land or something.
Oh, we did.
And we had a different day.
We did have a completely different day.
So I know that when we set it up for fun and we laugh about being here, because anyone who comes to this planet is a warrior. A warrioress and a warrior, and every soul out there, us included, very, very strong souls that choose to come here. I know that for truth. So yeah, we do laugh about it, and we've been experiencing different timelines. So we've been meeting some very interesting people, haven't we? Who've been very helpful.
That's nice.
And it just flows. We've had some more work done on the house, didn't we? And we went back to the supply shop with some products, materials that we had. We couldn't find the receipt, so we took them back. We had extra stuff, and it just flowed, didn't it? It was like, wow. It was like from one counter to another. By the time we got to the main counter, they knew what it was we needed, and we were like, she's just told her, she's just told him. And we were like, wow. And that was just purely setting up a question during the day saying, how does it get any better than this? What else can happen here for our highest good? What else can we experience that's fun and light and joy? And it's asking those open questions, and they seem to work more so than ever before and very quick.
I think that's absolutely true. When you get into the higher dimensions, especially when you're living in fifth, which you guys are, then the fifth is not bound by the physicality any longer. You are in the realm of creativity. So it's the realm of whatever you want this world to look like, it will look like. You just have to believe it, and part of believing it is speaking it, so if you speak it, it's almost like you're putting it out there, like, like, I really would like to have a publisher, it would be nice instead of self-publishing. So I've just been speaking, like, I say to Anna, we're going to have a publisher. It's just going to happen, those kind of things manifest. And it's exactly what happened with you and I meeting, with the movie, all that stuff. It seemed to manifest the minute it was spoken. I mean, the moment it was spoken, because that's how it works in this realm. And one of the things that I was going to also add to this, you talked about the beginning of the day. You know what Anna and I do for the end of the day? Every day we massage each other's feet at the end of the day.
Oh, that's so nice.
Oh, it's our evening ritual. We sit down when we're finally exhausted from the kids and
and normally we don't watch TV, but we usually in the evening, because we like some shows, so we're choosing some shows that we want to see. Lately is Matrix.
We just watch it over and over again. Yeah,
and I'm falling asleep halfway, but then we're just massaging each other's feet.
We massage each other's feet.
Yeah.
It is actually extremely healthy for you on a physical basis. It's probably the most vital part of your body to massage. All those pressure points, etc. And then on the other side, I'm almost, I just thank God for these feet that brought this woman into my life. The journey that brought her into my life. They came via her feet. So that's.
Although I must say that it was really challenging for me, especially to stay in the flow, being in Poland.
This last trip. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Because, dealing with the sickness of my father, and I was waking up choking, like, what now? Because my mom is in a very difficult position, and the minute I get out of the room, I'm being bombarded with negativity and guilt and worry. So, it was like very hard for me to keep myself together. So, yeah.
Her realm there is, her mother is a pharmacist. So her mother has, her entire life is brought up with the belief that pharmacy is good. So the realization that we now know, I mean, it may not have always been like this, but I think over time it has stair-stepped into a progressively worse situation. I've seen it in my own medical practice. Medicines that 10 years ago were primarily, they did what they said they were supposed to do, have morphed into just absolute poison for people. The same medicines, just they become poisonous. So that's but now convince an 80-some-year-old woman,
80-year-old,
an 80-year-old woman, that she might be poisoning her own husband.
Sure.
But yet you have to sit there and watch it happen. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
So she was, she's between a rock and a hard place there, having to deal with, on one, I don't know what to do with this husband of mine, because he doesn't, he doesn't even talk anymore. He won't get out of bed. Well, he won't get out of bed because you're drugging him.
Yeah. It's tough, but everybody have their own journey. I cannot stay there like all the time. I will be back probably soon if the world don't gonna be crazy again. But actually it's healthier when I'm away and we're just on the phone every day for a long time, then, because when I'm there is like a clash of
the Titans.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and if somebody is dwelling in this like 3D, believing in mainstream media, pharmaceutical, and it's not easy to stay in balance, and being emotionally attached because I love them so much, so.
And I feel for you too, David, because, one of the things that I ran into when I was first starting to put, my process is put God into the healthcare and then let the miracles happen, drive the demons out, then we'll take care of the physical with simple physical applications. It's a simple process. That's what I do, but some cases, if the people are not willing to see the spiritual side, then when you go into the scenario, like I went in one time to this young little girl. I mean, I kid you not. She was only maybe 11. She was completely possessed. And the parents didn't believe in that. They didn't believe in it. Yet they know their child was practicing witchcraft. Right. Was a big fan of Harry Potter. She had it all over the house. Yet the parents don't believe in God. So here you got this child, when they brought this child who went, I kid you not, when I walked in and I saw this kid on the floor in her bedroom, she looked like a jackal. Her face was the shape of a dog. And she was like on all fours, and she was crazy. Her mouth was pulled back and you could see her teeth, and completely insane. And yet when they admitted her to the hospital released her, said there's nothing we can do. There's nothing clinically we can find wrong with her. So they're medicating her and they're doing all this different stuff. And when the parents don't believe in a spiritual side, then it's almost impossible to make an application of a spiritual therapy, because one of the things they warn you about is be careful about driving out a spirit, because if you drive it out, if that person doesn't change and know the truth and be able to keep it out, 10 times worse is going to come back.
Yeah, but that's the beautiful thing about the process I use, because once the bad memory's gone, the nightmares are gone, the demon walks out going, oh, I can't live in here anymore, because there's no traumatic memories to hide behind.
There's no door for it to come back in. Yeah, you're right.
Correct. And that's the beautiful nature of this process.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, really.
Yeah. But, you're seeing more and more of these voices, huh? So that's, like I said, there's more manifestation of this stuff going on today. It's becoming mainstream, or at least people are seeing it. They're out and about. All the people who are aware are seeing this stuff and saying, wait a minute, there's more of this going on than in the past.
I think also because we're more aware, aren't we, as well?
Yeah.
More people are aware. So,
yeah.
And if you've just been, for want of a better word, if you've been forced, or you've become aware that there is satanic activity going on, and it's in the systems and stratums of life that we've taken for granted as being safe, then once that's blown, you can't unsee it. So as a consequence, I'm walking along and I just look at someone and they know I've seen them. They know it.
We're seeing it everywhere.
We were in a cafe in a garden center recently, a couple of weeks back, or last week, whenever it was. And I just named what was being said on the next table. And once I'd actually named it, this particular energy wouldn't turn and face me anymore. They had to turn literally physically away from me because it was named.
She had her back to you, didn't she?
Yeah.
Then they can't look at the light. They cannot look at the light, but they're not ready to flee. But they can't. They, like you said, you're a man of light, and both of you. So once they see you, once you see them, there's something. I read about this years ago in witchcraft. Until you see the demon, they can't see you.
That's right.
But if you see the demon, they see you. And when they see you as light, You know, we've walked into people that literally they just turn from us. But we are even seeing it in places. You know, you go into movie theaters, grocery stores, restaurants, entire cities. When we went into Geneva, you know, it's like the whole town was dark. Den Haag in Holland.
But in Geneva, I got this, the word it came to me was caustic. The people who live there, they were so cold, and they, like in every other country, they look you in the eyes, they give you a smile, you know, like, okay, you tourists, you're around. They were like very properly dressed, very serious, and not looking at you.
And what's interesting about that is when she got that word, she didn't know what it meant. We're in Geneva, and she says, what does caustic mean? I go, well, caustic is the degeneration of a chemical or a physical element. So if it gets exposed to an anti-element, or like, let's say, an acid with a base, the caustic means it starts to degenerate. She goes, well, I got a word that this environment here in Geneva is caustic. She got the word without even knowing what it meant.
It felt creepy there.
Yeah. Do you think because obviously what's been happening in the last few years with the rollout of a certain injection and stuff that's been happening, people are a bit zombified, they're a bit spaced out? People,
and also CERN is there, you know, in Geneva. It's exactly under.
Well, I heard a video today about that, though. I think it's done the reverse. They wanted to they were using it to export lots of bad stuff, but I think
if they've taken it, and they probably are, that would be good.
Well, the white hats have taken it over. That's what I heard today.
Oh, they have, because I can confirm that, because it's
actually sucking it in.
Well,
now it's going the other way.
There's a few redemption centers, and we've done the release. We're free. We've actually really, yes, no, cross my heart.
That was 18 months ago, though, or a year ago.
We've done the release, and we're issuing payouts to the right people.
Well, that'll be the different tier structure, though.
Yeah. Tier 3A.
Tier 1, you know, tier 1 and tier 2. Yeah, that I believe in it completely. I think Charlie, you know, again, these people like 107, Charlie, and these different guys, they're so connected to the top.
They're under NDAs.
Sometimes they have to release certain information in order to throw the bad guys off, because they're also being listened to.
That makes sense.
Yeah. You know? Yeah.
So I think as a collective energy, you know, there is pockets of energy, isn't there? And it's up to us as the light bearers, or the light beings within. That's why we're all scattered around the world. You know, we are, aren't we? We're all, you guys said that you were going to be in your place where you live, and we said we were going to be here. And we often wondered for a while why we were here. And it was only just recently we said, we know why we're here. We know why we're here. Yep.
We're exactly where we need to be. And even, you know, I didn't want to even come back. You know, I was like, why don't we just go sell our house and stay there? I was like, no, we're not done. We have to go back to Phoenix and stay there at least for a while until God tells us to go to the next place, you know?
My beautiful friend.
Yeah. Sorry, say again.
You know, my friend that is like my mentor, and she's amazingly wise woman from Holland, Eva. She told me that, actually you need to be there. Even if you just sit there in your garden, you bringing the light to this dark spot, because Phoenix is a dump. It's not.
It's like Birmingham on steroids.
You know? So, we just need to be placed, you know, in all these different, you know.
And it's hot as hell too. It's hot as hell.
Hot, is it hot? Wow. Well, we've been looking to move house for a while, haven't we? And we've been to a lot of places, and we've seen a lot of places, and we're still here, and we just resigned.
It chooses us.
We just resigned to the back.
Choose us when we go.
Yeah.
We're the same way. We're going to have our place in Tuscany someday.
If it chooses us, maybe it's going to be somewhere else.
Maybe it'll be Croatia, maybe another planet. Who knows? Or maybe it'll be
know, but
maybe we'll be neighbors to David and Elyse Rogers too. You know, I don't know, who knows. But wherever it turns out to be, it's going to be the perfect place where God wants us to be. I know that.
Yes. Do you
I love
guys...
this. Chooses us, David.
Yes.
It takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
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 And that's kind of the same with, it's kind of the same as the patients. You know, people coming in, you know, I have really backed off on patients since I've stopped treating actively, you know, and I actually envy you, David, because I wish I had a little bit more of online people calling me, and but maybe I'll start doing that again, you know, because I did it for a little while, and but it really is, it that part is so what do you call it? It's fulfilling. You feel so good when you're helping people and stuff. And I kind of, like I said, I hear, you know, Elyse saying, he's with another patient. I'm like, oh, I kind of miss that.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, totally. Are you guys going to go away again? Because you went away for quite a while, didn't you? Are you going to go back to Poland, Anna? Is that what you said?
Yeah, we are all together 6 weeks.
Wow.
So after being in Italy, and it was this journey with the car was such a breather, because, you know, with the car, it's like your little home. You don't need to wear anything, or, you know, nobody checking you. So it was such a breather. And in Italy, so much life. I think people reacting over, you know, these lockdowns, and now they just live life and they laugh and they, you know, eat good food, and it is wonderful to see. And a lot of them are aware that something dark is being there, but they still, you know, they still choosing life over it. So
it's much of the same experience we had when we met with you in Southampton. That was so wonderful, that whole, and meeting your friend, what's his first name? Mark McGregor.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's the last name.
Very wonderful, just a wonderful man, and we had such a good time. That was so relaxing and so refreshing for us, because we just don't have those kind of interactions here in Phoenix. We don't have friends that we have friends, but they're here, you know, they're stuck in the world.
They think we're crazy.
Yeah, the conversation's different. That's what I say. The conversation's different. It's not like this, is it really? So we packed a lot in, and it just felt so natural. And we were all quite tired, because I know that you guys had driven a long way and we'd driven a long way, but the energy, it was like we stayed up till early hours of the morning. We found that great little restaurant, and you had what did you have for the first time? Curry.
Indian curry.
You had an Indian curry.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah. And an English cup of tea.
And an English cup of tea with milk.
Yeah. That's just wonderful.
But for me, I was saying to Peter that this is like a dream, like the scene from the movies, you know, that the friends are meeting up in this little restaurant and just having fun and talk. You know, we didn't have it for such a long time. It's just different, and communicating on the same heart level, you know, and understanding. And with real friends, you don't need to explain things, you just know it. So
if you don't mind, we're gonna probably be calling a lot more often, just to chat on it.
Yes. We'll call.
You know, if David's busy, he's busy. So what? Okay.
We'll work around it. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah. So we've got some plans, haven't we?
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah. So we hope that this time next year we're coming to the States.
Oh wow.
I hope you better come here to Arizona then. If you come to the States,
where
are you going to fly in? What do you think?
Well, we're going to do a bit of a tour, aren't we? That's the plan.
Yeah.
We want to go to Florida, Miami. We want to come up and see you guys. We'll go wherever. We'll just see where God wants us, really.
Yeah.
So are you going to do like the rent a camper thing, or what are you going to do?
Oh.
Good question.
I haven't thought of that really.
I have.
Have you?
Yeah. But it's only a thought. And a conversation and emails with a couple of ex-clients who said, oh, I'm well connected. The work that I do, I'd love you to just do some talks, and we'll get these people together. And if you'd share your process, we'll be able to actually help lots of people who have had the issues which are very prevalent
Do you want to try to throw together? You want me to try to see if I can throw together some kind of tour?
Peter,
Wow.
already. A couple of people who are well connected. They've said their words. Have said, "Look, David, with the work that you do, I need to connect you with the people and the issues which have been are the real reason for the pandemic, the abuse."
Yeah.
And because they're already got their own charities in those areas, trafficking and abuse, they're already making they've already said, we'll arrange it. Will you just show up and we give you some dates next year? And I'm like, okay. So that for me was a sign from God that that will be the right time, because they just emailed me and said, "Oh my God, I love you. This is incredible. The results of the session 2-3 months ago. This is what's happening." Da, 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 da.
Is this the Clay Clark group, or is this a different?
Blah, blah, blah. Sorry.
Is it the Clay Clark group, or is it just who is it? Do you mind me asking?
Yeah, well, I actually asked Charlie, would you interview this particular person? I'm going to keep it nameless, because if it doesn't come off, then that person is going to feel, oh, I let you down. So I'm not going to reveal the plans, because I don't know what they are. They've just said, leave it with us. We want to connect the dots for you, because it would be helping so many people and they need you, but they don't know you exist because they don't go to the platforms that I have and had the treatment with you. So I said, do it however you're going to do it. If it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. And that's a couple of ex-clients who said, leave it with me. So that's exactly what I've done.
Good.
It chose you.
Yeah,
they did. It was timing last week. We was only discussing a little bit more in depth. We went to the seaside, and it just come up in conversation. And next minute, I just went, look at this email. And she went, my God, did you send that? She didn't look at the sender. And I said, no, this is an ex-client. She went, oh my God, that's what we've just been saying half an hour ago in the cafe. And I went, I know. So that's
I myself have been looking for something that I can hook up with, so if they're ever looking for more, speakers, throw my name into the ring, please, because we're trying to fill the gaps here with, I was hoping to hook up with Charlie and that thing, but that doesn't look like that's going to even happen at all. The Birmingham tour and all of that stuff. And then Mark's been talking about doing something on he's talking about vacations. And we were thinking about maybe going over and seeing what that's like.
The retreat in Morocco.
Yeah. That'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
So that we can kind of get an idea, because that's one of the things we eventually want to do is like vacation retreats for people, let maybe 10 couples at a time, and then go to our little place in Tuscany and do it in the form of a 7 or a 10-day health retreat kind of thing.
Wow. That'd be beautiful.
Great.
With both your skills, it'd be amazing.
We'll add your skills to it. You come and speak at the things.
Sure.
Wow, amazing.
So what's going on with the football thing? Is that how did that end up panning out, David? I was just wondering.
Well, the first club, they folded the first team because of the issues that came out of the possible venture, where I asked for transparency and they just closed it down. The manager that was there that I helped in terms of become aware of the issues, he walked away. So I couldn't, it was untenable for me. So they've closed the actual club themselves are still going, but the actual team that I was going to actually coach has folded. So I've just, in the last month or so, been waiting for my DBS, the police, the clearance on my
credit, is it a credit check, like,
like
working with children?
The data barring service.
Okay, so DBS, that's what it's an organization that you go through. We have DDD over here, Department of Developmental Disability, you know, and I had to be fingerprint cleared and all that stuff to work with children. Just the same thing, probably.
Yeah. And I've just had that cleared, and I went to the first session to observe it, and the guy who was going to mentor me, he's not told me for the last month or so, has not been at the club. I've been away waiting for my certificate, DBS certificate. His wife's got cancer, and it's sort of, I know, it's like, what's going on here? So I said, I can't work here. I need to be mentored. I want someone who knows what he's doing. And so I can learn from and ask questions and sort of building my own philosophy. So I've gone back to the drawing board, and I'm waiting now. I've contacted a few leagues and said, look, would you put out the feelers for a club that's got this, and this? And I'm being rather choosy, but I just want to make sure that my values are going to be respected and they're aligned with the values of the club that I'm about to work with, because I think it'll be quite important for both the club and me going forward, because I can't work in an organization given the last.
So did you ever did you finally get your sponsorship? Did you get your money from I know that lady was planning on.
I know it in essence won't need it now. I'm not going to do the collaboration with speculative characters who promise things and it doesn't deliver for whatever reason. I'm more than happy now to actually invest my own income into whatever it is I want to support. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I've decided to do. And if it takes 12 months of me studying my trade, if you like, and the soccer coaching, and then of course I can apply for professional jobs, and then we'll take it from there, because that's when the big bucks. And of course they're not gonna, I don't think they'll know about how it is and what it is I do that's so unique, but the nature of my work and the results I'll get will make me the standout candidate for any jobs in soccer.
I don't think Peter, and I know that in October you start a big qualification, don't you, really? Because that was touch and go whether you're going to do that or not. Yeah,
that was all up in the air for various reasons. So
in October, is it the end of October?
Coming October.
What, 9 months?
No,
it's about 9 months. Yeah. David's doing a really big qualification within it, and we were having a really good chat about it, because the system, just like the music industry and the football or the soccer industry and the entertainment industry and the sports industry, is so tainted from the top, isn't it? Yeah. So for us to work within that as it currently works, it doesn't flow, does it? That's why it's been up and down. But because he's got this massive passion, I mean, really, you could have been a pro footballer as a kid. You weren't you? And then
who knows on that one? Yeah, it's just that I walked away because I met 2 pedophiles. So in my,
it's like me walking away from the medical system. It's not that you walk away from the medical system like I won't treat anybody. I still treat people, but what you walk away from is the system itself and being financially bound to them, because there it's, every time I try to help a company, let's say, and try to help, you might even have the owner who says, oh, I would love to put God into the situation, treat people to the cause, help people get better rather than just stringing them along. Yes, I would love to have, and help, and it makes their business better because more people will come to them as the people are, the word of mouth will come up. But it's the system that shuts that down. Correct. The minute they get air, and I can tell you this, David, from experience, I started doing putting God back into healthcare in 2012. And I kid you not, 10 years. every single time you would go in with all these beautiful, the owners, even the owner of the company say, I want this. This is what I want. And the minute you start to integrate it, boom, you get pushed out. Yeah. And it's like, why? And it's the system. The system doesn't want it. And the system, even if they're the owners, even if they're the club owners, they're not in charge.
That's why we've got to create the new, haven't we? We are part of creating the new, whatever that means, and individually or collective together. We've got quite a big role to fill, haven't we? Fulfill, really.
Absolutely. And people are all waiting for this
EBS,
this GCR. And I'm talking about the GCR. Yeah, they're all waiting for
EBS as well.
Yeah, the EBS as well. But they're waiting for this Gisera and Nicera. And there's I've talked with people and they say, well, I've got my my community project that I'm gonna. Well, let me tell you, it makes me so, that's how I know you guys are authentic. You're doing it anyway.
You're not waiting.
You're not waiting for it. See, and I can tell you this from experience. I've had so many do-gooders that say, well,
when I get the money,
I'm going to do it. And the minute they get the money, they don't do it.
Yeah. Because
if they would do it, if they were going to do it, if they were serious about it, they would do it without the money. See, and I think that's how God tests us. Okay. He puts this desire in your heart. And then he says, this is what I'd like you to do. And you think to yourself, well, okay, if I'm going to start putting God into the healthcare, that means I'm going to have to step out of the healthcare and maybe treat for free. How am I going to pay my bills? Well, you've got to, if you're willing to do it, then do it. So I did. Yeah. And when you do it, then God provides, then it's God that brings you the money. He brings the blessings, like you guys are getting, you're getting the blessings anyway. And see, you're not required. See, then you don't have to require the healthcare system to pay you. You're going to treat people anyways without it. So my point is, I hear all these people out there, talking about when the big, I'll do this big community service thing. Well, if they were serious about it, they would do it now. And then God would bring them the funds. Yeah. So maybe in reality, it's already happening. Like your friend said in Italy, maybe the GCR already has occurred, but the only people it's being paid to are the people that God has, sifted through and found out for sure they're serious, and like you are serious, like I am serious. And we've already begun to feel the benefits of that. We're already seeing it. We're being prosperous, even though I'm not really sure how. Well, I know how, because God is giving us blessings that we had no idea were even there. Just suddenly the money's there. And it could be more, but but still, it's still, how we're surviving. We go back to Poland, and her uncle is asking, like, so how long has it been since you were working, and what are you doing right now? And she's like, well, Peter's writing, and and that we're doing these videos and this and that. And he's like, well, okay, so what's your job? What's your position? What position do you have? See, in his mind, if you don't have a position,
are you thinking about your retirement?
Yeah,
how much you have there? Like, well, I don't know.
Are you guys running into that? Are you guys running into that same thing? I don't know.
No, not anymore. Did do for 10 years, didn't we? I was only discussing that the other day again.
Yeah.
And that those roadblocks, those questions, anybody who does ask me now, they don't believe that what I'm doing, because it's completely out of their paradigm, their reality. That you're doing. Oh, we were talking to someone today. Oh, yeah. You cleared from. Oh, yeah. And I went, you don't mean that. Who do you know? You just said it as if you know. Oh, yeah. 2 sugars in your tea. Yeah. Oh, it's very hot. Yeah, it's very hot today. And she just went, and I just caught her, and I just said, you didn't mean that. She went, no. So then I explained a little bit more, and she went, and I said, now you've got it. Now the blank look and the look of shock on your face, now you've got the tiny window of what I'm really doing. I said, but you can't understand how many thousands of people have seen and the level of interest that's still generated. You can't conceive of it. So because it's outside of mainstream thinking, healer, you're doing what? It's just so far removed from their nothing works model.
Did you know that?
Okay. Sorry, in answer to what you just said, Peter, and asked the question about how we're doing, we downsized. We became mortgage free because we knew about common law about 14 years ago, where David was going into the courts representing people. So we as light workers or light beings have been very tested financially. And it was something I just mentioned tonight about how we as light and love, we've been targeted, going back to the AIs and demonics, because we've been challenged on the scarcity and the poverty stuff. Whereas I feel going forward, it's going to reverse now. So all the people who've had all the money, you know, and all the dark stuff and everything, it's going to actually flip so that we will become abundant. So I think, in answer to your question, we use gratitude quite a lot. We're very grateful and humble. We've been humbled because when you've been on the breadline like we have, and I mean on the bread line,
us too,
and as recently as 2017,
that you get
18.
to appreciate those little things and the big things, but you really downsize, don't you, as well? So we downsized.
We cut our cloth accordingly now.
We have done, yeah. And we reduced all our bills as well. So, you know, all our facilities, gas, electricity, we were with a great company, very minimum, don't we? We hardly have it on. We have hot water bottles in the winter. And and that's what we did. That's what we did.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I might have to sit down and have a little chat with you one of these days, Elyse, about the mortgage thing. It's like,
it's all changed now. Yeah, it's all changed now. That's so the energy is, because they used to get in touch with people about 3 years after. Because we've been through all that, and we don't do it anymore because we jumped timelines. Sorry, there's a little moth. You see the little moth there? Oh, there's a little moth near the light. So yeah, we don't do that anymore. And I think there's a lot. We were only having this conversation today, how there's a lot more people nowadays, because we know a few people who are taking full responsibility for everything. There he is, the moth, for all those bills, maybe for not paying them or whatever, and putting the letters back and forth. So many people are not paying the mortgages. So there's more now, but when we did it 10, 14 years ago, there was hardly anybody doing it.
Oh, you'd probably got notices right away. You know? And with us, what they did at first, they said, well, it's obviously you're having problems, so we're here to help, but you don't have to even contact us for a year. We'll let you not pay for a year. And then after a year, they said, well, we pushed it out for another year. And it's like, and now I don't even get the notices anymore. It's like,
we came back after 6 weeks of being away, and there are like 3 papers in the mailbox.
Yeah, 3 papers. And it's like, it's like weird, you know, but I think it's this timeline thing, you know, but if you were willing to keep paying, they would gladly take it. Yeah, we'll take it, you know.
But isn't that part of what you said before about Gesara and Nasara? And that's part of this new movement as we move into the new energy and the new earth.
We're choosing to believe it also, you know, we are assumed to be part of it. So
and we are manifesting that with our words and our thoughts and our feelings and our thoughts. And we're saying, you know, we're free sovereign beings, aren't we? And that, you know, I said this to the pilot on the flight on the way back from Germany. I looked him in the eye and I said, I'm a free sovereign being, and you're infringing on my human rights. And I'm letting you know that what you're asking me to do is actually, you know, God's watching you. I put the bejesus up in, you know, and I thought that was more powerful than to say all the other stuff, you know, and I let him know heart to heart that I knew, and that's what the best way really, isn't it? Sometimes.
Did you get any response?
Well, Yes, I did. There was 2 pilots, like the main pilot and the co-pilot, who, by the way, when I walked in, they asked me to go in the cockpit. I didn't ask to go there. The actual main air steward said, you know, let me have a word with the pilot. Basically, she was saying, we're not sure if we want to let you on board, because she actually tutted. You know what tut is? So I was like, she's a psychopath. She's a psychopath.
We ran it. It was a German airline, because we ran into a couple of those ourselves.
Yes, absolutely. You know, absolutely bonkers. And so in answer to your question, Anna, what happened was the pilot was actually, he was more persuaded. He was going to go with it. But I had her energy, she came in. So one, she had a word with the pilot. 2, you know, it was like on her say so. She was the boss, not the pilot. She was the old school trolley, you know, air steward who had been through the ranks or whatever. She, you know, she was same age as me probably. She came and she was breathing down my neck. Now, really, I was knelt down to his level, because that's what I did. You know, I just thought, I'm going to kneel to his level. I mean, on the floor, because I had my mask, and I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to do you a favor. Basically, I'm going to wear my mask. And he seemed to be okay with that, but she was interfering. So at that point, I should have said to her, look, my talk is not with you, it's with the pilot. What's going on here? But she would, you know what, they do this tactic, don't they, where they bombard you from different areas. Yeah. So you get overwhelmed. And I questioned it in my mind. Was it worth it? Was it worth it?
Battles, you know?
10 minutes in the pilot to actually, you know, we'd been in the airport for 5-6 hours. Yeah. Did I want to stop the plane from going? No, I didn't want drama. I just wanted to get home. You couldn't believe it when I messaged you, could you? You was like, oh my God, can't believe it.
Can't believe it's still going on.
Yeah.
After all this
time. You know, and the whole, you know, I'm just so glad that we've been now to so many different countries, and so many, and even back and forth to America, and with Biden here. And yet they're not demanding any proof of this anymore. They're not even asking. No. And that's wonderful. At least that part is been, at least for now, has been lifted.
You told me a great story. Well, not a great story. You told me a story, Peter, of the lady standing up, really going for it, saying she'd spent all this money. Was it $500? What? Tell us about that story. What
we were in the plane coming back the first time from Poland. And this lady's
just when you came back from Birmingham.
Oh, when I came back from Birmingham. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And this she stands up, and she's at the, you know, here she is, and they're getting ready to close up the plane to get ready to take off. And she stands up and says, wait a minute. Isn't anybody going to ask me for my, and she's got a mask on. I think she may have double mask. I don't know. Little short, kind of dumpy, you know, like the same as, she looked just like the lady was like, no, you know, that one on the famous lady when Trump was elected. She looked just like her, you know, and like, isn't somebody going to ask me for my proof that I, you know, that I'm, you know, comorbid free? She says, I paid $500 for this, and everybody's laughing at her. He goes like, you don't need that anymore. And she goes, well, I ran around I ran around, and I just want somebody to look at it. Will somebody look at it? Sit down, lady. We got to go.
Oh my God.
Compliance consequence, eh?
Yeah.
Consequence.
She paid her $500. She wanted so bad, you know, for that, somebody to look at her testing that she paid for. What an idiot.
Yeah.
But that's how it is. These people that have had now 4, they almost are getting to the point now where if you don't, they're mad. It's like, wait a minute.
They're mad at themselves, and they're
mad at themselves, but they're projecting on you. Exactly.
Yeah.
They're mad because they got duped.
Yeah.
And for them to not be duped, that means you have to be wrong.
Hey, do you know something? You know, like if you've had the first or the second jab and the booster, and you want to go away on holiday again, I don't know where it is over in America, but like to go to Spain, from UK to Spain, the vaccination's actually expired. It runs out, so they've got to get.
That's what I heard. Yeah. I heard.
Yeah. That's why they feel like idiots right now, and they're angry on the others that never took it, you know. Yeah. And
well, David Icke actually said that in a video, didn't he? About 6 months ago, I briefly saw, and he said, "There's nothing for us to do. Just sit back and wait, because people who've been vaccinated will rise. They'll be so angry. You know, what's happened to me?
Well, that's one thing I wanted to bring to your attention. Okay. So this is purely from a medical point of view. Okay. Medicines diminish your ability to get in contact with your spiritual self. They bring you down to the physical. They literally, you don't dream. If you ever talk to people that are on sleeping pills, they don't dream. Okay. Why? There's a reason for that. That medicines diminish your ability. The more medicines you take, the less you're able to get in contact with your spiritual self. Okay, so when you get sick and then you add medicines to the scenario, what happens is you're not even able to get in contact with your conscious self, the mind. Okay, so that's the level of insanity. That's the level where sicknesses dwell. The sicknesses that have influence on people, schizophrenia, neurosis, all those kind of issues are mind scrambling issues, make people insane, neurotic, those kind of things. So when people are in that realm, they're dabbling, they're pushed down so level that they have problems getting a hold of their own minds, their logical sections of they can't even get a hold of their emotional side, only the negative emotions. They can't get a hold of the positives, the love, the compassion, joy, happiness. They have no happiness in their life. Now, let's take the jab. What was it designed to do? Well, the first thing they want is to be able to eliminate the population. But if they eliminated the population too fast, people would have caught on and they wouldn't have taken it. So they wanted to put it in as a trigger or as some kind of mechanism that they could. Okay, so that's one thing. It's also pharmaceutical. So it's going to automatically lower people's, ability to get in contact. So when you're talking to people who are jabbed, and you said it before, they're like zombies. You're not far from the truth. When you go to, if you've ever worked in an insane asylum, I've worked in facilities that are, I would call them insane asylums, but it's where the psychiatrically inflicted Alzheimer's, et cetera, those kind of people sit, that have severe mental conditions, oftentimes medically induced by medicine, oftentimes, about 90%. But anyways, these poor people are in these almost semi-comatose kind of levels of functioning, mental functioning. They're like they're in a fog, like they're in a fishbowl. Okay. They almost look like zombies. Okay. That's what this stuff is designed to do. And so now you've got people that have had 1, 2, 3, 4 of these, and they're like time bombs. Okay. We don't know exactly how the deep state has designed these things to react, because for some people, they just seem to be functioning normally. They're just fine, but you're wondering if, like a time bomb, boom, suddenly there's a switch that's done, or they have the right combination of foods or something. There's enough stuff in the air that they drank in their water, and then suddenly they flip. And they look like zombies. They act like zombies. They're being used like zombies. Part of their deeps. Did you guys see The Matrix, the new one?
No.
You should see it. You should watch it. It's very enlightening. And at the end of The Matrix, they come together. The couple, they come together, and they realize the truth. And the enemy says, "All right, swarm." And he turns on all the zombies, and normal people suddenly flip. Their eyes go black, and they start doing crazy stuff, like jumping out of the buildings like human bombs, just trying to hit, just like human. They'll just kill themselves. I don't think that is far from the truth of what's gonna, not doing the doom and gloom thing, but they had a plan, and that plan was to have these medicines in a large percentage of the populations for a purpose. Okay, so at least they know it's going to dumb them down so that they're more they're easily influenced, because people who look in the spirit realm, they're not easily influenced. But people who are dumbed down are easily influenced. And then B, possibly to be used as some kind of weapon moving forward, as a doomsday or whatever. And I think that's still coming. I really do.
Yeah. Well, it's something to look forward to, Peter. You're not positive. Sleep well, David. Thanks very much, Peter.
Oh boy.
You'll be practicing that martial arts a little bit and keep a baseball bat handy.
Oh dear me. Wow. We're all laughing, but we're all not disagreeing. Now we're not disagreeing. Feel the truth. We're like, oh shit. Yeah.
Well,
I just hope that good people are going to be saved, because some of them being forced to do it or misled to do it. And I think God have control over it, and it's going to play out exactly how it's supposed to, without too much drama.
We've got to have trust and have faith.
Yeah. I think wonderful times are coming, it just has to play out, clean this swamp completely, and then
well, let's, I don't know what else you guys have for plans in the near future. We're not planning on going back.
They need to sleep in the near future.
Well, I know you guys know that. I'm just saying. But you said that
I may have a client. Yeah, I may have a client.
But oh really? But you've got that thing in December. But anything else in the lines of travel plans or anything? But that's pretty much just kind of be hanging.
The clients are just boom, boom, relentless, just relentless, boom, boom, boom. They just when you think it's quieting down on Wednesday, on a Thursday, and then bum, 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 bum.
David, how many a day are you doing, David, right now?
It can range from 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 5 a day. Varies.
Are these new or repeating? New or repeating?
These are a lot of ex referrals. So you've got a client who then refers their friend or relative.
Good.
Very good.
Yeah, but I have a lot of catch-ups from 12 months ago or 18 months ago. I have a client, David. I'm now being psychically attacked. The lady at 3 o'clock and at 6 o'clock today were both psychic attacks.
Do you want more?
Do you
want me to, on the video, you want me to put a link if people want to contact you for a session? Do you want to, are you still open for more?
Open for more.
For more time.
Sounds very draining.
I mean, I'll put your phone number down there before.
Jesus. No wonder you're no longer in the. You've not shown any empathy, understanding. If people are struggling, God, I've always said this: God manages my diary.
Yeah.
That's what we do. You've been saying for 2-3 years, David, you need to get it automated. You need to do this. You need to get a team. And I'm like, no, God's doing my diary. And she's had so many problems with trying to automate her business. I'm like, I've dealt with a few thousand people. You've dealt with a few over a couple of months, and the whole system went smoke coming out of her ears. How are you, darling? She's like, the plugins are gone. This has happened.
I've got to tell you my latest one, because we've been getting attacked, haven't we? Let's be honest now. We have been, we get psychically attacked. And I've got a post office. We have the post office over there that I send my parcels all around the world. I send my CDs all around the world. And 2 weeks ago, I sent 2 to America and 1 to the UK. And so that was 2 weeks ago. And that was kind of the last time that, I sent CDs. And we're walking around the park the other day, last Monday it was. And my phone pinged. And it was my balance in this account that I've got that used purely just for postage. And I topped it up with £100 the other day. There was £85.88 in it, and they wiped me clear with it, zeroed.
We had we had a $1,700 hit to our bank account just the other day.
Just 2 days ago.
They just decided somebody stole $1,700 from us about 6 months ago. We went in and found out. We had it reversed because it was in the bank account. They should not, the bank is responsible for keeping the integrity. They gave us the money back. And then while we were on vacation, the bank took it back.
We're coming back again.
And now we have to prove to them that, hey, again, we have to go back in. And they said, well, you're going to have to appeal. But we decided to take the money back, even though it was stolen from us.
So we also being attacked in this way, you know?
Yeah. Wow. Do you know what I did?
What?
I completely let go, and I said, God, it's in your hands. I'll leave it with you, because it was quite stressful. Because you know why? I had the only reference that I had that it all it said was in branch. It never told me what branch.
And it usually states everything,
more or less,
doesn't it? It states it, particularly by detail and customer. And all it said was £85.88
in branch.
Stamps and stationery.
Stamps and stationery.
That's one hell of a lot of books and paper.
They told you that that's what you owed?
They took it.
They took it. That was the credit balance, and they took it.
And I don't use
somebody in branch, a cashier.
So what happened was there was no phone number for the post office. I kid you not, there's nobody to contact. And I left it for about an hour. We went in different post offices, didn't we, to try and get information. And all the clerks in the post office, they kept giving me another number. They too, as staff and managers of these different branches, didn't have the proper contact, because it had never happened before. Never happened before.
So you left it in God's hands. Have you gotten any results?
I got it back within 4 days.
Oh!
After the week, it was taken out, and on the Friday,
Thursday,
all resolved.
Got it back on the Thursday.
That's right, Thursday.
I threatened action fraud in the police. I was like, don't really want to give you that energy, but I did. I got a WhatsApp number off the post office, and basically what came back was they said it was an accident. The clerk said it was an accident. It was close to somebody else's account, and he took my money by mistake.
Oh yeah.
So I went, so stamps and stationery, that's hilarious. So now he says, so it got the lies, and it was just, and I just let go, and I just said, you know what, if someone really needs 85.88, let them have it. I completely surrendered to it. And I think
I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to call them back up, and I'm going to say, you know what, you said I need to appeal this, so I'm appealing it. I said this is wrong, but I'm going to turn it over to God, and I'm just going to tell them right over the phone, and then I'll get back.
It's in God's hands.
Yep.
And I hope that you get return of double.
Compensation,
that would be nice.
You know that biblically, here's the quotient is, if someone steals from you and they feel if they feel sorry, they're supposed to give it to you 5 times back. Wow. That's the quotient. That's how they make up for the theft. But if they get caught, then God demands that they pay back 10 times. That is the quotient that is spoken of in the Bible. Just for your information.
God was never a pauper.
No. He doesn't believe in pauper. No. Yeah. That's what, you can't outgive God. That's one of the things we have learned, that even when we are at our poorest, we'll be going down the street, and Anna will see somebody that has, that's sitting there on a curb, and she'll open her purse and pull out the only $20 bill she's got left and hand the person basically all the money. And it's like, it's like, and boom, we'll get home and it'll be $100 or $200, envelope in the mail, and it's like, you can't outgive God. Try it. It's impossible. And that, you know, and you're teaching healing. So that's why you guys can't get sick. You will not get sick because of all the healing that you
touch wood, touch wood, touch wood.
Yeah, we stay healthy. You have to choose the words also.
Yeah.
Don't even use the other one.
What's that?
Sick.
Oh, yeah.
We stay healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. It's so great.
Yeah.
Well, so you don't got anything going till December. So if I try to put together like maybe a show in, you know, I'm kind of dabbling with the idea, instead of waiting for somebody to invite me, maybe I'll put something together in Red Rock in maybe for like October or something, or maybe early November, and try to put a little team together, or like you and Elyse and maybe Mark Atwood and myself, and maybe you get Nino to come, you know, or something like that, and we throw together a little truthers healing, and to see what kind of response we get, you know, in the Red Rock, you know.
Put it out there.
Good idea.
Yeah. Might
Because
be
we
nice.
have to see how the world gonna evolve until this moment, you know, because we are in some very turbulent 3 months. This is what we're hearing now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful place, Sedona. You know, it's a nice
Yeah.
place. You land in LA, and you know, would be a hop, skip, and a jump across, and you guys stay with us, and yeah, that'd be kind of fun.
Well, we said about Hawaii, didn't we? We need to go to Hawaii as well.
Yeah, whatever. So you already were planning on that. That's coming up, right?
We said December for that.
Yeah, we said December, probably New Year.
Good time to go for Hawaii. Good time for Hawaii by December. But you know, the screenplay is going to be in your hands a lot faster than that. It's going to be. I'm decided to fast until it's finished. So I'm not going to eat anymore. Not that I can't use that, but I've decided I'm going to fast until it's finished.
He's deciding every morning when he's grabbing a cookie after, you know.
Today I'm deciding. I'm putting it out in space, so it's out there in the Word. So it has
rumble there, Peter. With the cookie.
Are you doing water fast or a dry fast?
Water, and maybe broth, but not food, not any solids.
Yeah, that would be so good. We've got a Kangen water machine.
It's leaking.
Yeah, we've had it 4 years, and we just changed the filter recently, because you change the filter like every 12 months, and we struggled to get the filter on. I think it needs a service, but yeah, we're going to miss our water.
Thank God we're on a well here. We have a well, and then we buy sparkling water in the bottles.
Love it.
The bottled sparkling water.
But our well water is so good.
Oh yeah.
Is it really? Oh gosh, you're so blessed.
Yeah,
We've got some Pellegrino actually downstairs. I'm going to go and get some Pellegrino.
Very good for you.
We put lime in ours, lime or lemon, but lime's nice and sparkling water. Yeah. We'll have to do another call on like nutrition, or do, you know, something so that the people who are watching, they can learn from us all, really, because we've got some great skills together.
Definitely. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. We'll do one maybe in a week. We'll do another one.
Cool. Okay. Cool. Yes.
All right, guys. Thank you. Big hugs.
Yeah, straight back at you.
Love you guys.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see you again. So
we'll see you too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get a top up on the love.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Give your good. See you guys later. I'm gonna hit end here, and then I'll send you.
Thank you.
You want me to just send you the raw? You want me to send you the raw, or you want me to just send you the finished product?
Finished one's fine.
Finished. Yeah.
All right.
Let him do the work.
All right, sweetie. Take care, guys. Thank you.
Thank
Love you guys.
So much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.